Welcome to the Widowed Mom Podcast, episode 335, 3 Things Widows Need to Get Unstuck.
Welcome to the Widowed Mom Podcast, the only podcast that offers a proven process to help you work through your grief, to grow, evolve, and create a future you can truly look forward to. Here's your host, Master Certified Life Coach, grief expert, widow, and mom, Krista St-Germain.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of the podcast. If you have ever caught yourself thinking, I feel stuck, this episode is for you. Maybe you're back to work and taking care of your family, paying the bills, keeping it all together. And people tell you how strong you are, which makes you cringe. From the outside, it looks like you're doing great, and you understand why people think you're doing great. But on the inside, you don't feel great. Instead, you feel flat or unmotivated, disconnected, empty, hollow, maybe even robotic. You've survived something you never asked for, and part of you really wants to love life again, but part of you might feel guilty when you think about it, or you just really struggle to imagine what it might look like and how you could get there. That space that you're in is incredibly common for widows. So common, in fact, that I gave it a name. I call it a grief plateau. It's that stuck space between surviving and truly loving life, where things are stable enough that you're functioning, but your future feels uncertain and life doesn't feel like you'd like it to. And nothing's wrong with you for being there. It's actually a really common place for widows to find themselves, and it makes perfect sense when you understand what's going on in your brain and in your body. The grief plateau is also a place where growth becomes possible. In fact, I see it as a huge opportunity if you know how to work with it. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk all about 3 things that help you get unstuck, or maybe better said, help you remember that you can move again. Okay, first, why the grief plateau even happens. I want to remind you, when your person died, your entire system went into survival mode. Your body and brain did exactly what they're designed to do. They worked to keep you alive. And that's why the early days of grief can feel like such a fog. You're operating on instinct, you're doing what needs to be done, but it's incredibly taxing on all of the systems in our body, and there's very little energy left for anything other than basic survival. Eventually, though, that acute grief, that early grief, subsides, and you're not holding your breath as much. You're getting back to some routines. You're wading through the muck of the logistics, starting to contemplate that they really aren't coming back and that maybe this is your new life. You're back to work if you want to be. You're adulting, as they say. But your brain hasn't quite gotten the message that it's safe to grow yet, that it's safe to live again, truly live. So it's still cautious. And that makes sense. Because to the human brain, uncertainty is often interpreted as danger. And it's not just that we've lost the person that we love, it's that the human brain associates change and the unknown with literal danger, with death. And given what your nervous system has been through, it would make so much sense that you might still be on high alert, or that you still might feel a little bit immobilized or frozen or shut down. So, even if part of you likes the idea of dreaming again and wants to dream again, and even if part of you wants to create something new, there's often another part that says, let's just stay in the cave. We don't really know what's out there. It's probably not possible for it to be as good as it once was. Let's just focus on the kids. Probably not going to be as happy as we once were. Let's just do what we know. And that push and pull can feel like being stuck. It's kind of like having one foot on the gas pedal and one foot on the brake. You probably know this feeling. I'm guessing almost every widow I have ever talked to knows this feeling. What I want you to hear is that it doesn't need to be permanent. It can just be a phase that we're passing through, a period where our mind and our body are asking for reassurance, asking for safety, before we can expand again and go on to create what's next. Okay? So, what do we actually need to get unstuck? I'm going to give you 3 things today. The first one is we need a sense of safety. Movement only happens when our system feels safe enough. And it doesn't have to be entirely safe or completely safe, but it has to be safe enough. So this is not about forcing yourself to think positively or find happy thoughts or have a growth mindset or, push yourself towards change. That's not it. It means, can I learn how to give my body the signals that it is safe to take action, even if I don't know how it's going to turn out, even if I don't know exactly what I want, but that it is safe to take some action. And this kind of safety can come in the smallest of things. It doesn't need to be big. It can be the consistent use of body-based tools like tapping, which if you followed me for a while, it's my favorite tool. Even a heart hold. Spending time in nature, walking outdoors, getting that left, right, crossing the body with the midline, right? That eye movement. Predictable daily routines, surrounding yourself with supportive people, all kinds of breathing techniques. There's not one right way to create safety. There are many tools to experiment with so that you can figure out what helps you create enough safety to move. And as your body begins to relax, your mind will start to open, possibility will come online again. And then, if you're not sure what you want, it will start to become more clear when you feel safe enough for that clarity to come. This is why in Mom Goes On, we spend so much time working on safety tools. Because without it, everything else feels forced, nothing sticks. It doesn't work. So we have to have a certain level of safety so that we can take action. The second thing we need to get unstuck is awareness. Once there's more safety, then we need some awareness. Awareness means that we're learning to notice our thoughts and our feelings instead of just reacting to them automatically. When you hear stories in your mind like, I can't do this, or I'll never be happy again, right? It's very easy to get hooked by those stories. Instead of being hooked on those thoughts, kind of like a fish at the end of a fishing pole, you can start to get unhooked because you start to notice your own reaction, to notice that, oh, I can't do this is a story in my mind. I'll never be happy again is a thought that I'm having. And because your awareness increases, then you can choose your response to the thoughts that show up, which might sound something like, interesting. Is it true, that thought that I'll never be happy again? What if it isn't true? What if that is just a story that my mind is offering me? What would this experience be like without this thought that I'll never be happy again? What might this thought, I'll never be happy again, be protecting me from? What do I want to believe about my ability to be happy again? Right? We get curious, it increases our awareness. And then when our awareness is high enough, then we can start to see the pattern, right? We cannot change patterns that we can't see. So we have to be able to see the pattern and then we can start to work with it. So we need to have a sense of safety. We need to be able to increase our awareness about what's actually going on. And then the third thing we need is an increased sense of self-trust. If we want to move beyond a grief plateau, we need more self-trust. It is so common after loss to doubt yourself, to doubt your judgment, your timing, your wants. You've been through something so incredibly taxing. You might not feel like you even recognize yourself or know what you want anymore, but every time you listen to what you do know and what you do want, and those things are in there, every time you take a step toward what you do know matters to you, you increase your sense of self-trust. And this does not have to be about big things. In fact, I would encourage you to not make it be about big things. You might not have a big vision for your life right now, and that is absolutely okay. We want to focus on growing self-trust in the very smallest of ways, making a teeny tiny commitment to yourself and keeping it. Deciding that you're going to try something new and then praising yourself for trying it, even if it didn't work out the way that you'd hoped. Maybe it's having an honest conversation about something that matters to you and trusting yourself to be honest with someone about something you care about. It could be giving yourself credit for handling a situation that was hard for you to handle, and yet you handled it. And you didn't even require yourself to be perfect as you handled it. Starting to speak to yourself and notice the way that you speak to yourself, starting to speak to yourself with kindness, kind of like how I speak to you at the end of every podcast episode, right? When I say, I love you, you've got this. When you start to speak to yourself like that, that increases your sense of self-trust. Saying things like, I'm so proud of you. This is hard. You're doing it. I'm so proud of you. And we start to realize that we are safe with ourselves. Self-trust can be about listening to your body. What is your body asking you for? Does your body need rest? Do you need water? Do you need food? Do you need to pee? Do you know? I can tell you for the longest time, I didn't know. I still have to keep reminding myself sometimes to check in with my body and see what it actually needs, that I am more than just a head on a balloon on my body. So every time we ask our body what it really needs and then we listen, we build self-trust. Could also be letting yourself change your mind. Maybe you've made a commitment and you let yourself back out of it because that commitment no longer feels right for you. Increase in self-trust. Letting yourself feel a feeling until it passes, instead of needing to distract with social media or food or work or busyness. Each of these choices, right? They don't require a huge vision for your life. They're here, they're now, they're in the moment. Each of these little choices reinforces some key beliefs. I can navigate uncertainty. I can take the next smallest step. I can figure it out as I go. I can trust myself to have my own back. I can stay with myself. I can hear what it is that I need, and I can take good care of myself. I am safe with myself. I can trust myself. That's how you start to create movement and momentum with self-trust. Tiny little steps, checking in with yourself, asking yourself what you need, and then giving that to yourself. This is how we build the muscle of self-trust. Okay? What I want you to hear is that the grief plateau is common, and it does not have to be the place where you stay. All widows, every single one of us, we all have the capacity for post-traumatic growth. We all have the capacity to decide who we want to be, given that this loss has happened, how we want to live, given that this loss has happened. We can create from here. We can take what has happened to us, we can decide what we want to make of it, and live accordingly. That does not mean we have to be grateful for our loss. It makes me want to punch people when they say that. It does not mean we have to like that the loss happened. It means the loss happened, we're not arguing with it, and now we get to decide who we want to be and how we want to live. Humans are wired for adaptation. We are wired for meaning making. We are wired for choice, and we have agency. And so, yes, the grief plateau happens. Yes, most of us will go through one or many. And that is not the place we have to stay. Growth after loss is not something special that happens to a lucky few. It is not something for unicorns. It is a human capacity that I have and that you have. We all have it. So when you bring safety, awareness, self-trust together, your system starts to believe that growth and joy are safe again, that it is okay for you to live again, that it is possible for you. And that's when you can begin to move past the grief plateau. That's when you can begin to create the next chapter that you can truly love. All right? That's what I want for you. If you feel like you're stuck, it's so common. No shame, no blame. You are not broken. You are not behind. Nothing is wrong with you. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. I want you to consider the idea that you are not stuck. You're just recalibrating. You're just figuring it out. You're in a phase of finding safety, understanding yourself, seeing what you've been through, what you're made of, and then considering what's possible for you and what you want going forward. Your mind and body need time to learn these things. You can learn that uncertainty doesn't necessarily mean actual danger. You can learn that you are safe with yourself. You can trust yourself to start taking action towards what you want. And these things happen slowly in little steps. Then you will start to see more small signs of movement, little sparks of interest, little bits of connection and hope and possibility. That is what I want us to be focused on. That is growth. And it's not growth because you have bought into the nonsense that you should want to grow, that growing is somehow superior after loss. It's not that. It's growth because you genuinely want something for yourself. It's growth because you feel a pull toward living again. It's growth because, yes, they died, but you didn't. You're still here, and you want your days to be what you want them to be. That is what it is. That is the beginning of loving a life again. And by the way, this is what we do in Mom Goes On. I help you work on this. We teach your brain and body that growth and desire are safe again. We have tools for this that we can use, right? We increase our awareness so that we can see all the stories that are in the way and remove them so that we can love life again. We help you figure out how to trust yourself to become who you want to become next, even if you don't know what that is next. That is the work I am all about. If you are interested, go to coachingwithkrista.com, click on the Work With Me tab. All the details are there. We start a new small group at the beginning of every month, okay? If this podcast episode helped you, click follow, click subscribe. If you didn't know, you can watch on YouTube these days. We are on the YouTubes. You can go there and subscribe, all right? That's what I have for you this week. Remember, I love you. You've got this. Take care, and I'll see you next week. All right, bye-bye. If you like what you've been hearing on this podcast and want to create a future you can truly get excited about even after the loss of your spouse, I invite you to join my Mom Goes On coaching program. It's small group coaching just for widowed moms like you, where I'll help you figure out what's holding you back and give you the tools and support you need so you can move forward with confidence. Please don't settle for a new normal that's less than what you deserve. Go to coachingwithkrista.com and click Work With Me for details and next steps. I can't wait to meet you.